Well, I think he probably was just irritated. I mean, maybe it's possible that he actually wants to be considered. And I know a number of people, Sean Hannity among others, have said, gee, I guess Marco's out of it, just as Kasich seems to be out of it. Well, I think Marco maybe decided, I'm not so sure I want to be out of it. And as he's proving this morning, he's found a way to get back into it. We've become a system where tweeting can have an amazing impact for a national figure.
Newt Gingrich earlier today commenting on Marco Rubio's Twitter storm, refuting a Washington Post report that Marco is not in the running for vice president. The senator took to Twitter late last night, and he wrote a couple of things. This one, funny to read about unnamed people close to me who claim to know my thinking on future plans. They just make it up. And then Rubio tweeted this, word of advice. People often claim to know more than they really do because they enjoy status of being perceived as in the know. We know that you are very much in the know, and that is why we welcome your phone calls at 1-877-NEWSMAX, 1-877-639-7629. And let's welcome back our panel. Again, from Newsmax Washington, the former mayor of Cincinnati, as well as the ex-Secretary of State of Ohio, Ken Blackwell, and via Skype from Washington, the former Deputy Staff Secretary to President Bill Clinton, David Goodfriend. So, there is Gingrich saying that, Rubio's a little irritated, and he could still be in the running for vice president. But Ken, a lot of eyes and a lot of mentions of Newt Gingrich as Trump's number 2. But you come from that swing state of Ohio. So if Mr. Blackwell is making the list of the best dressed and best equipped Republican to be vice president for Mr. Trump, who do you think it should be?
Well, I'm not going to go into one person. I've heard some combinations, Gingrich for the Secretary of Defense, Huckabee for Vice President. You can go with, any combination of that talented pool that was out there and name your Vice President and your top 5 cabinet members, I think, at the convention and actually put this race to bed by Labor Day. And so, look, he has a deep pool of talent from which to choose. And in typical Donald Trump style, he's not going to make a big decision until he has to make that decision.
Yeah, and build up the drama with reality TV. David Goodfriend, I got to ask you, Senator Rubio, you talked earlier about how you think a vibrant Republican Party is important and that can look beyond partisan lines. I guess this is the human dimension of politics. You read something on the internet, it's late at night, and there's your device to tweet. Is it a good idea for anybody, Republican or Democrat, holding public office to tweet after 11 p.m.?
Well, I think that, I think the answer to your question.
Oh, gee, David, Skype, your Skype.
Time.
I tell you what, we're going to try to fix that Skype. I'm sorry, David. You're a good friend. We'll try to get that going here. Let's go to the phones to Milford, Ohio, where Larry is standing by. Larry, welcome to Newsmax Prime.
Hi, JD. How are you?
Okay, sir.
You were asking, should Trump sue the New York Times?
Right. That's our prime question tonight. Should Donald Trump take legal action against the New York Times?
I think more than that, he ought to be pressuring the New York Times rather than the New York Times being preoccupied with his love life. They ought to be pressuring their boy in the office there. They're whipping Obama.
Now, wait. He's the president of the United States.
Okay, president. Okay, President Obama. Okay, into mobilizing FEMA against this Zika thing, rather than dealing with Trump's love life, and being a surrogate for the president or the Democrats, or I call them Gimmicrats, then or Hillary, the girl Hillary, then why wouldn't they do something more valuable to the people, who really need the help against this Zika virus that's coming our way?
In other words, there are more pressing national issues than Donald Trump's personal life. Larry, we hear you, and we do appreciate your input tonight from Milford, Ohio. Ken, since The caller was an Ohioan. Let me ask you about this. It always remains a frustration, and obviously there's a First Amendment, and the dominant media culture tries to set an agenda. But do you think we are going to see an exhaustive analysis of the Clinton Foundation on the pages of the New York Times?
I doubt it. Because let me just tell you, inconsistency, we all know the stories of JFK and Marilyn Monroe and his other exploits. We all know, what Clinton did in the Oval Office with Lewinsky. The fact of the matter is that these folks have a double standard. A pox on all of their houses for that inappropriate behavior, but for the New York Times to sort of zero in and on Trump and stay away from the peculiar tastes and practices of Bill Clinton, when it's as well known in Ohio as it is in New York, what this guy has done and what he is probably still doing. I think that's a contradiction that will destroy the New York Times credibility.
All right, we hear you. Listen, I hate to interrupt. And David, I just got to do this. You'll understand this. It's bipartisan. One of my old constituents is on the phone from St. John's, Arizona. Let's welcome Rose again to Newsmax Prime. Hiya, Rose.
Hi, JD. Awesome to speak with you again.
Thank you.
I'll get right to it.
Okay.
I do not think he should waste his energy and time right now. He can do this. He can mess with the newspapers and all that after the election. I want him to stay on point because there are voters really listening close to his demand for more jobs and his quest to bring jobs back to America.
All right, let's
do a lot of tech who are very upset about the jobs for India and China and bringing
absolutely, I hear you, and we've seen it out in Arizona. Let me turn to David Goodfriend because this is another bipartisan issue: the loss of jobs, the H-1B visas, especially with computer and we call them STEM workers for short. Is that the real responsive nerve that Donald Trump has struck, at least in terms of his economic agenda? About a minute left to answer, David.
JD, first of all, the caller who asked about the Zika virus, I agree, and the Republicans in Congress who run Congress who haven't done jack sprat about it should be ashamed of themselves, number one. Number two, my Republican friend here from Ohio was responsible for voter suppression. That's offensive.
Oh, wait a minute, voter suppression? Wait a minute.
Yes, voter suppression.
Wow.
Voter suppression that has been found unconstitutional in Pennsylvania, in states across the country.
Well, now, wait a minute.
You want to talk about offensive?
I got to tell you, hang on a second. You have opened up a keg of rhetorical dynamite to say that Ken Blackwell.
Republicans in power are afraid of the vote. Blackwell, you are afraid of the voters and you were called out for it, and that's offensive, not the New York Times reporting.
Ken Blackwell, you get 30 seconds to respond. Let him have a chance, David. Let him have a chance. Go ahead, Ken.
Let me just stop him in his tracks. We have 88 counties. The county where they had long lines was headed up by a vice president of the Democratic Party, Bill Anthony. He made the decisions as to how many voting machines were distributed through Columbus and Franklin County. So if you want to talk about voter suppression, if you want to talk about long lines, go after Bill Anthony. And I tell you, just get your facts straight.
All right, here is our situation tonight. Obviously, passions run high. Obviously, we have had moments of magnanimity. But overall, we've had some very human moments tonight. I want you to know, henceforth, as a moderator, I will do my best to elicit passionate conversation, but not shouting matches. We appreciate passion, we appreciate principles, and we'll try to stick with that. Our thanks to our two guests. Thanks to you for watching. We will see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern. For now, stay brave, stay free, stay tuned, and thanks for watching